Yeah,
back on wet.
Just about to point that out, Carlton. Yet again, as we saw earlier in the stage, very differing weather conditions between the breakaway, who seem to have had the best of it throughout today, compared to the peloton, where the rain's really coming down hard. I mean, there must only be 2 kilometres between the two of them, but yeah, it's amazing the difference that 2 kilometres is making.
Look at that, and how narrow is that? There's only going to be 3 riders comfortably exiting that, and there'll be 6 into it, into Lusk. Just wait and see Cadel Evans' BMC boys up the front, because that's what he calls for. They also, some of the team cars have TV, and they're probably listening to exactly what we're saying right now, which is when we say something that's slightly disrespectful, you know, teasing, you understand, then yes, it sometimes comes back to us if we're sharing a hotel with various teams. Mixed surface as well. We've had a few repairs. In fact, saw some rolling repairs in Dublin today that had not or been forgotten in the build-up, so they had to be done. And this is a high-paced day. That's Moreno Moser, and just
sometimes to get back to the peloton in front of you if you're not allowed to use the slipstreaming effect of the cars after a mechanical, after giving a rain jacket back. Wow, the flags really are blowing strong there. There's the very experienced duo of Daniel Oss and Manuel Quinziar, nursing Cadel Evans through these opening stages and doing a fantastic job of it too. Just in case anything happens in the wind, I actually put a tweet up this morning with a forecast for the wind, and Quinziar replied to me saying, well, I hope it's not too windy, or words to that effect, but he's doing a great job.
Oh, no. Well, we kind of knew it, didn't we? You had to be at the front to be safe, and it's Belkin that are on. It's on the exit, so look just to the left of your screen. It's street furniture, I'm afraid, with a walking policeman at that point, and it's just out of shot. You'll see the camera just catch up with it right now. Goodness me. Well, it looks like teammates may well have actually just got involved. So many
Fords do so. 2 minutes gap with 33 Ks to go. The sprinters team's still riding up there on the front. Giant Shimano doing a job, and it's going to be a difficult task for those guys who crashed to relay back to that peloton.
It is, because they have a problem, a big problem that is, and it's because they have more team principals up the road that are going to be protected, and that gap can't be allowed to get out, so they're going to have to, or to widen, I should say, to the breakaway riders. We told you how clever BMC are, and that Cadel Evans is a wise old fox. He knew there was a technical section coming up. BMC in their black and red were very
sharp, just trying to get back to that group, but they're still off the back of the peloton, and it takes teams a while to get to know exactly who's been left behind. There'll be all sorts of communication going on between the riders and the director sportifs to make sure that the team leaders are okay. I think most of them are up at the front, and you're right, Carlton. Evans, wily and experienced, knows where he needs to be. Doesn't mean that he never crashes, but you really reduce your chances if you stay up there in that top 20.
Yeah, fantastic. At the line, plenty of the old Giro poly bags have been handed out as rain south of the border, as they have had north on the 2 stages that started off this 97th Giro d'Italia, heading down to Dublin. Just over 180 kilometres for them to deal with today. 187th place, really, Dan, because they've had more road space to play with. They've stayed safe. Can't be said for the main bunch.
Well, no, it's very calm in the breakaway in comparison to the bunch, where everyone's extremely nervous, particularly coming in towards the last part of the stage. You can see the group behind is just about managing to make contact with the main peloton in front. So we're around about 20 strong there. We haven't really got any identification of the riders, whether there's any of the big leaders, sprinters, GC riders in that group, but the main peloton, but that will have taken some energy out of them.
Certainly will have done. 31.4 is 1:37 is the gap, and so although there has been a gentle easing of the pace, I think maybe fatigue is starting to play a part with those in the breakaway as well. They've certainly not had things all their own way. Past some of the glass houses where, goodness only knows, tomatoes, I believe, are being grown. 31.1 kilometres to go. I don't think there's a wine crop in this part of the world.
You're right, Carlton. It was Edvald Bersenhagen involved in that crash. Confirmation coming for kilometres to go then. And yesterday, I think they were pretty much all working for Ben Swift, and that slight uphill drag to the finish might favour him a little bit more than yesterday's stage, but let's hope Edvald, the Norwegian, is doing okay. Yeah,
it will have given him a big rattle, though, and even if you haven't broken anything, it really does affect the musculature. And he will have had to fight to get back on as well, albeit possibly helped. That said, he has let it be known that he's looking for an exit from Sky when maybe it's just to help him with his current negotiations. We'll see. So as well, he finished 7th yesterday, incidentally. So we'll see how ragged the build-up to the run for home is.
Yeah, it's a ball from Belkin, another guy from that team involved in the crash, trying to get back on. He's their main sprinter. Didn't actually see exactly where he finished on yesterday's stage, but these crashes affecting a lot of people. 11th on yesterday's stage, promising young sprinter, and here's Philip Dignan, the other Irish rider in the race that many people forget, just coming back with a plethora of rain capes to give back to the team car. Yeah,
it looks like a very ragged laundry delivery boy. Yeah, be handing those back into the car. He's got to be careful that he doesn't get snagged. He's got one in his mouth. Anyway, when you get dumped on like that, I guess
he's managed to give them to the Orica cars so that he doesn't have to wait too long. So,
oh, good boy.
So you can find them on eBay later.
Yes, sold by Orica. Yeah, so if it's wet tomorrow, they're going to be forced to wear Orica advertising unless they go to the shops. There's a good relationship, incidentally, between Orica and Sky. They sort of help each other out, and both teams generally tend to hotel together. And you'll see a few of the Orica boys movies that they put up on YouTube, actually featuring Sky riders as well. So it's a 29.6 kilometres to go, 1:15 now, and these guys are in sunshine, and this is where you want a little bit more pressure in the tyres, I bet, unless you think the clouds are going to burst once more. Who knows?
Yeah, well, not much they can do about that. The pressure that they've got in the tyres is what they're going to have all the way to the finish now. Although those high-pressure tubulars, which I talked about earlier, do gradually leak air throughout the stage. So, in fact, in a race like Paris-Roubaix, where the optimal pressure is as low as 4.5 bar, which is
30 kilometres from the line, that's what we've got right now. That we're taking.
So just under 30 kilometres to go to the finish. The breakaway has just over a minute still on the peloton, but that's likely to come back together, and we are predicting a sprint finish in the streets of Dublin right next to us here. And of course, if that happens, all eyes will be on yesterday's stage winner and the birthday boy himself, Marcel Kittel, and Gavin caught up with him last night after his stage win.
Marcel, your first Giro.
And it could be a bit chaotic in that sprint finish, it so often is, and who better to tell us what it's like mixing it up in those big bunch sprints than the men involved.
Bus. If you think about your own personal safety, you can't sprint. If you think about it for a split second, you can't everyone around you, because when a sprint goes wrong, it always goes horribly wrong.
And they work really hard, don't they, in preparing for these sprints. I know from the finish on the Tour de France this year, he will know what to expect in the last few kilometres. I should just say that the noise behind us is the crowd cheering Stephen Roach as he walks up the finish line here. Hugely popular figure in Dublin. But yes, I think he'll have seen the chicane, as you mentioned it, down just at this, in the lead out to this sprint finish.
The teams will have video of these kind of finishes, and they will show the riders the video on the bus this morning. So the last time they've seen the chicane that he's got to deal with this morning. What he doesn't, of course, know is kind of, is it going to be wet? What way is the wind going to be blowing? These things affected too. And ultimately, I mean, Kittel stayed pretty safe today, but obviously we've seen other sprinters in trouble today and other sprinters' teams in trouble, so it's very, very unpredictable.
Yeah, Mike Matthews, we now understand, did go down briefly, the wearer of the Macula Rosa, the race leader, but he's back up his bike and looking comfortable enough. Cameron Meyer went down very heavily, didn't he, Orica Green Edge,
yes,
one of his teammates.
As did Peter Weening, who is Matthews' critical lead-out man. He's the last wheel that he wants to come off coming into the finish, so we don't know if he's taking a bit of a knock as well, so that'll certainly affect the Orica sprint train.
They're so hardy, these fellas, though. They get back on the bike, often running repairs as they go, but of course they must desperately try to get back up into that peloton so they're not losing time, and then when they get back to their team buses tonight, that's when I think the real help comes in.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get straight back on your bike, because every second that you're standing beside the road with a problem or trying to get over a knock is a second that the bunch is getting further away. The first priority is to get back on your bike and try as best to cope with whatever injuries you might have picked up. You often see riders getting back on their bike is just masked by the adrenaline.
Well, that gap is tumbling down now, 47 seconds. They're just dangling off the front, the leaders on the road, the breakaway. They've been away most of the day, the 5 riders, including the King of the Mountain classification leader. but the rest of the peloton, they are just coming along. That will be being controlled now by the big sprint teams, won't it, as they try and bring it back together for the bunch sprint.
Yeah, the FDJ have been at the front, Giant Shimano have been seen at the front, Orica clearly had a bit of a day, a lot of their riders have been done, but the two major sprint teams at the front controlling the race, and they're trying not to catch the break too soon. They don't want the race all back together before they get into the outskirts of Dublin. They want to make that catch so that there's no opportunity for anybody else to attack again before the finish.
Okay, let's get back to commentary now to bring this race today to a climax and rejoin Carlton and Dan.
It's down, courtesy of their team time trial, but when it comes to the mountains, they can make up ground, and they certainly don't want to lose any of those favoured guys here. They carry the top numbers because of Nibali's win last year. So Astana, even though our defending champion is going to do the Tour de France this year, they still have Scarponi, Fabio Aru and Michael Landa as their out-and-out climbers and indeed GC specialists. So they've brought a decent team along with them. You're just looking at Brajkovic, the time trialling expert amongst this team. Don't forget, this year there is a mountain time trial as well, just to sort of test everybody out. So that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, it certainly will be, of course. For the GC riders, it's more to their favour, I guess, than a flat time trial, where they can often lose big chunks of time to the bigger riders. I'm trying to think actually quickly. I think probably Evans, you'd think, maybe is the best flat time trialist of the GC riders. Although Rigoberto Urán pulled out a great time trial just a few days before this race at the final stage of the Tour de Romandie. Was inside the top 5 there, which was a good effort by him. Quintana, though, himself has won some big time trials on some big races. Tour de Basque Country, which he won overall. He did so by winning the last time trial ahead of the likes of Tony Martin. It was a hilly one, but nonetheless it means that he's pretty accomplished against the clock.
Tony Martin can have his off days when he just gets a bit sulky. I was going to say his bottom lip starts. Go and have a look. 22.7 kilometres to go. 48 seconds, and I think they've done the job now. There was a bit of a... Just in case there was any more knocks, I think they wanted to close that gap right down, Dan, so that they could manage the situation should there be a problem again.
Well, I think it's pretty much just...
Hagen on the deck earlier on today. So their two quick men have had their issues, albeit Ben's appears to be mechanical. Let's have a look. Sailing out. I love the way the crowds will back off. Do better today because it's that uphill ramp as well, and he's a bit of a skirmish, a bit of a prize fighter. We like that. Thanks for all of your kind comments, by the way, on Twitter. It's been a joy to hear from you today. It's been build up the drama yet again, and then Bari. It is Destination Bari on stage 4, another one for the sprinters. So hope you'll stay with us throughout the entire Giro d'Italia, especially those fans in Northern Ireland and indeed the Republic that have now found the sport, and it seems absolutely fallen in love with it as an island in its entirety. Quite remarkable and lovely to see, and we're glad that you've been along for the ride, so thank you for that. Here they come, and they'll be making a turn fairly shortly, Dan, and it will be Destination Dublin, and let's talk about this run-in, shall we?
Well, they're actually at this point in time, I believe, heading back towards the coast, and there are a few twists and turns around that bit before they finally head southwestwards into Dublin. We'll explain the technical run-in a little bit later on. Puccio, the pink jersey from last year's race, is the Team Sky teammates, just helping Ben Swift to get back towards the peloton, so he's doing a good job for his teammate. No word as yet as to whether Edvald Boasson-Hagen managed to get back on. I presume he is here somewhere, but haven't spotted him just yet.
No, it's a difficult day, especially when you've got to retrieve yourself, essentially. Nice to see that Tinkoff Saxo are represented so well here. Nico Roche does not want to go the same way as Dan Martin, and there's a distinct possibility that somebody might have a big issue late on. It is technical in the run-in, but we're approaching the 20 kilometres to go mark, and all the main GC boys are very conscious about being out front. I guess if you don't do your research, just watch BMC and just follow what they do. But they have an amazing quick turn of speed and can guide their principal rider, who is, of course, Cadel Evans, to the right place at the right time. In the right place right now are a breakaway group of 5 riders. With 20 kilometres to go, we've had 5 brave souls who went off very, very early, including Martin Cilingi, the man who wears that leader's jersey. albeit in the King of the Mountains competition. The other jerseys have had their issues today, although Marcel Kittel seems to have avoided the problems that have dogged some others. Michael Matthews, who's wearing the overall general classification pink jersey, the one everyone wants, has taken a tumble today, and he's not road rash to be dealt with tonight. But I think they'll be forgetting about that now as the adrenaline kicks in and the line doth beckon. It's 51 seconds now, the gap between these men in the break and the pack, with just 19.3 to go. Soon we'll be making the turn towards the city of Dublin, where our finish.
For those of you who've just joined us, there's a nasty little chicane here with 350 metres to go. A left followed by a right very quickly afterwards, as happens in chicanes. And then over, before that, with a kilometre to go, they go over the River Liffey. 100 metres to go through the barriers. A right-hand turn there. So it is technical. It is a case of being in a good position some way out from the finish today. And I'm sure Marcel Kittel, on his birthday, will be hoping that his teammates can deliver him to win number 2.
Average speed has risen to 41.39 kilometres per hour, so the automatic speed indicator at the side of the road, part of a traffic calming plan, I think, just to appeal to the guilt, indicating 42, so it's right. Not quite sure what was going on there, but it looked like indigestion. 18.3 kilometres to go. 49 seconds is the gap. The crowds have been immaculate. We do, of course, tease them, but that's with great friendship in mind. Everyone also wants to be part of the safety area, which is out front. Dan, you're just...
Of all of the fans here in Ireland, locals and people that have come from further afield, but I guess also to the volunteers who've done such a fantastic job the last 3 days, and before that, really, it's been a huge pleasure for us to visit, a huge pleasure for the riders to visit. I know the organisers, RCS, have been extremely pleased with the way that it's gone.
This is the phony war. You're looking at the calm before the storm. They know that this is a bit technical, and so they're all sort of strategizing at the moment. They've done the job as far as the break is concerned. 45 seconds. I bet you that Chilingi goes for it again. He did yesterday. He had a little bit of a late turn of speed. They're all getting into their colour blocks, as you can see. So the teams are coming together in formation for this big assault through Portmarnock right now, and then making the turn towards Dublin. It's a little wiggly course, and then we finish just at the side of, indeed, Trinity University. Beautiful part of town, incidentally. Lots of Georgian buildings, tall and elegant as they are. Indeed, many of the locals too. Some, of course, look like SpongeBob, but hey, that's the same as everywhere. 16.9 kilometres to go. 42 seconds is the gap, and it looks like plenty of furniture also giving him a kick up the backside at this point. Kittel, but he's got so much power to deliver that he can.
Yeah, he's so powerful, Kittel, over the last 12 months in particular. I mean, I remember riding against him for the first time, I think 4 years ago. I think it was at the Bayern Rundfahrt, and Andreas Clear, my teammate at the time, saying, watch out for this man. Same with John Day. He's got faster since then. He's supremely powerful. He's put the dominant sprinter from the last, 7 years, Mark Cavendish, into his place a couple of times at the Tour de France last year, and I think Cavendish, you know, arguably the best generation, the best look already at the effect it's having on the rest of the bunch. They knew where the wind was coming from round that corner. It's already strung out. It doesn't take too long when there's pressure like this for gaps to start opening up between the riders.
Absolutely streaming they are. Their eyes in the wind, you can be sure about that. The gullies as well that are taking the water away from the road. The road builders in this part of the world doing a fantastic job of that.
Experienced Alessandro Patacchi there. The pink jersey of Michael Matthews, well, slightly in the wrong place there. He's got a couple of teammates around him. He's in the wind. They're trying to bring him up to make sure he's protected and at the very front. BMC with Daniel Oss on the very front with Evans 2 behind him. So we've got some pretty experienced guys up towards the front. Whether or not they'll have enough strength to completely split things, I'm not sure, but certainly doing a great job of keeping their leader safe and making sure he's not behind any splits.
Especially in a situation such as this. Nasty little jink, as you can see, around this roundabout with 15 kilometres to go for the pack. They're 26 seconds in arrears of the 5 breakaway riders who've already started checking over their shoulders. Here we go. I don't know where they get these outfits from, but Oh, he nearly came a cropper. There we are. He did a job, though. Hello, Mum, on Mother's Day. Quickly doing a job as well was Chilingi. He's going to be lighter at the line.
Well, he'll be fined tomorrow as well, I would imagine.
He might well be.
That outfit wasn't that bad.
And it'll be more than just spending a penny, I can tell you that much. 14.4 kilometres to go, 19 seconds. What can he do? He's in the break. He wants to shine. It is BMC. Lampre, boys. He's going to have to do it on his own yet again, but he's capable of doing so. 14.1. Buani today for me. Viviani for Dan. We know that Kittel is the out-and-out favourite. We're kind of trying to look beyond him. Don't count out Nizzolo as well from Team Factory Racing, or Francesco Chicchi in the what looks like a laundry accident. The Neri Satoli bright yellow. It's bright pink that's the leader's jersey in the Giro d'Italia, of course. The yellow is bound to be Neri Satoli, unless of course it's on the back of Tinkoff Saxo. Tyler Farrar fancies it yet again. He's dead centre of your screen. He was off the pace yesterday, finished 10th, but maybe in this mixed company where it can happen. Oh, what street furniture, unguarded. Somebody blew a whistle, and thank goodness the riders actually working for each other with 13 to go.
First we've seen of Trek Factory Racing coming up towards the front. Nizzolo there in the red jersey, which he's wearing. I think it was Nizzolo on behalf of Kittel, although really it should be Buani who's wearing that, but certainly saw a red jersey up there towards the front amongst the Trek Factory Racing riders. And yeah, things so nervous here in the peloton at the moment, from the crosswinds to the corners to the road furniture. Everyone wants to be
sorted out. It's a young team, young lead out. Then maybe Nizzolo could have gone that extra step. They're mobbing the road at the moment, and there'll be a hiatus once these boys are caught. I don't think Chilingi's going to go for it again, as he might well do. Flicks an elbow out to say, go on, you go by, it's not going to be me. That's usually when he goes to the back of a breakaway group and then attacks late on.
In the direction that they're going now, they'll pretty much be going in that direction all the way to the peloton, spanned across the road. Things have calmed down very slightly, and in fact the breakaway is almost extending that lead. The GC...
He went very quick in Oman, and he can go quick again here. And because of this phony wall where they just backed it off a little bit, everyone's just...
The front of that group now. The pace has really gone out with the danger of the wind direction and where it's coming from. But it won't be long, as I said, before the...
Pictures breaking up. That's just the nature of the game here. Obviously trying to cover a big bike race like this. We've got all sorts of weather conditions as well. But again, apologies if the picture is not...
Just about 10 kilometres to go now. The gap's just expanded very, very slightly, but this is just to make sure that all the personnel
on the front, but with them in their sights now, they won't be too worried, and they'll want to save as much as possible for this final lead out. So it'll be interesting to see exactly who takes it up first. Yesterday, of course, doesn't really get technical now, this run-in, until we get to around about 5Ks to go, where we see a number of corners coming in towards the finish.
5Ks to go, there will be a left-hand turn. It's then a snaking run by the park before we get a 90-degree left-hander over a river. And then it is a sequence of turns, all culminating with the run over the Liffey.
Out front the longest, and just, as I say it, checking
if there's any will amongst his co-breakaway. It's fairly neutral, and let the pack come by them so that they don't cause any problems, and that's precisely what they do. They just go over to the right-hand side of the road. Everyone knows they're there, and they'll be gently reabsorbed, and you might well see them just be on somebody else. So he's alone, but take no notice. 8 kilometres to go, and look at those beautiful lines of colour. The wide road, at least at this point, has offered up an opportunity for teams to marshal themselves into their preferred running order. It was a two-pronged attack, rolling one, you understand, which opened up the centre of the road. And as a result, Kenny De Haas and Lotto Bellisol said, thank you very much. We'll just come through if you don't mind. Astana also filling that void just for now. And Belkin have joined the front in the green and blasters, with the king amongst them, Marcel Kittel, who can do a very, very good job. You see the red jersey there, just out towards that. See those guys who've done their job today. They're not going to be part of the sprint. They're just ambling home. 7 kilometres to go. It's about the sprinters, and they're going to be
the sprinters coming up here now. Ben Swift is on the wheel of Salvatore Puccio over there on the right-hand side of our screen.
Towards the absolute barrier. BMC are there. They're not thinking about winning the day stage, but look at Trek coming through dead centre, thinking about going even a few steps further forward for Giacomo Nizzolo, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes well. 5.9 to go.
Well, this is where timing becomes crucial. 5.5 Ks to go, so 300 metres for these guys, and there'll be a mini sprint to get into that one first. After that, we've got a long right-hand bend, another left turn coming at 4.5 Ks to go, so this is quite an important...
Omega Pharma Quickstep, left-hand side of the road are concerned. You can see the pale blue bikes that they ride just there. You can also see the red jersey of Marcel Kittel over to the right-hand side of the road, and it's starting to stream now. Look at this, we may well get a snap today. 5.2 kilometres.
Three of the Cannondale riders up towards the front. They slightly lost their teammates. You can see, though, the effect that corner had on the peloton or caused mayhem. If that's the case, also down last chicane with 3:50 to go. This
is that snaking road that we were telling you about. There was a big fight there just a few moments ago for Marcel Kittel. They make this big turn. It's a 90-degree. They've got another turn to make before they get down to Liffey Riverside, and then they'll head along that on the opposite bank and take...
You can see in the background he's won 22 stages of this race over the course of his career. Says he's not sprinting, at least yesterday, because he's protecting the interest of Rigoberto Urán. But is he thinking about going for things to...
Trek Factory Racing, largely black on the left-hand side of your screen. Nasty little turn, that one. Well marshalled by both Cannondale and Giant in their white. The red jersey of Marcel Kittel, not that far. I think they'll be featuring late on. 3.2 to go, Dan.
It's certainly been perfect positioning for both Viviani and for Marcel Kittel so far in this race, although Kittel, I've noticed, is down to about 2 teammates, which with 3 Ks to go isn't ideal for the German sprinter. You can see him there in the red jersey, 2 white jerseys in front of him, coming towards the front of the bunch. If you look at Viviani, though...
See what is being offered up out there as well. Omega Pharma with a man on the nose. They're working for Pataki. He says he's not going to race, but we don't believe him. We think he's going to have a go today. Down this side of...
K to go right at the front.
David Apollino finished 8th yesterday. He's also in the mix for AG2 a la Mondiale in the brown and white. You can see him. Maybe it's something of a surprise. He's a big man as well. He can go well. 1.9 kilometres to go. And then the introduction to the last here. We are over the Liffey, over the bridge, and then we're going to make that double turn, and then the chicane with 350 metres to go.
Yeah, it's literally 500 metres now till we make that left-hand turn. The ever-experienced Bernie Eisel leading Team Sky on the left-hand side of... He's got Edvald Bursenhagen and Chris Sutton, the Australian rider, so very strong lead-out train for Sky here.
Change of pace, exactly the right position right now. We think Marcel Kittel may have run out of teammates here. Trek Factory Racing tight on the barriers. It's a crucial turn that you've got to be in the right place. Look at the compression. 4 coming in. 2 wide coming out, and Cannondale have monstered this as they go over the Liffey. It's a double turn, and that must have hurt some. They needed all the teammates, they've got them. This bodes well for Viviani with 1 kilometre to go.
Kittel now in around about 15th position, but that didn't seem to hold him back over the last couple of corners on yesterday's stage. We've got this right. This is a real narrowing here as well, but with it being strung out, shouldn't affect them too much. Wow, look at the speeds that Cannondale are taking. Edvald Bursenhagen in 3rd place. Has Kittel got himself too far?
P15, Edvald Bursenhagen almost lost the back wheel there, held on to it, just got a very slippy piece of tarmac. Oh, and they're all looking, they're all trying to find a way through, and there's not much space. Duque's here for Team Columbia, bizarrely. We'll see how they pan out. They're running out of road, and they're running out of luck for some of them. Surely Bohani gets a big dig. He's in there, so's Ferrar, and so is Viviani. Oh, look at this. Pick your way through, find the line. This is the chicane we've been worried about. And Kittel suddenly joined in. There he is in the red jersey. That's 300 metres, and they're all having a look. Edvald Bursenhagen, is he going to go this all on his own? He's working for Ben Swift, he's working for everyone else at the moment. Here comes Ferrari. There goes Tyler Ferrar. Down on the barriers. Where's Bohani? Nowhere to be seen. Drag for the line. Absolutely superb. And here comes Kittel. Oh, he takes it on the line. Out of absolutely nowhere. Like a bolt of lightning. He delivers. What a guy. He has all the credentials of a super sprinter of all time. He nailed that. Marcel Kittel, we salute you. He's going to take his breath, and so are we.